So it finally happened. Kathleen Kennedy got what she deserved.
The following is a world-class Bullshitters exclusive.
They say comedy is the commentary of society. Oftentimes, it's the stand-up comedians that are the great orators of the day. George Carlin, Richard Pryor, Bill Hicks, Dave Chappelle, and many, many more would speak on the issues plaguing society. While funny, their commentary was often poignant and would often strike at the core of the issues. The stand-up comics of today don't really have those skills. Their brand of comedy is often not funny and speaks to who they are as people, instead of poking fun at society's great failures. Thankfully, South Park, of all places, fills in the gap for that social commentary comedy. But before we get into that, today's video is brought to you by the book that beat South Park to the punch, Stealing Solo. Stealing Solo asks the greatest what-if question of all time. What if a group of disgruntled Star Wars fans kidnap Harrison Ford and force him to remake Star Wars in their basement? That, and a whole lot more, is answered in Stealing Solo, a Captain's Parody. Stealing Solo has been called laugh out loud funny and the greatest Star Wars parody since Spaceballs, and it's available now for a limited time only. Go to stealingsolo.com, which is powered by Shopify, so you get the reward-winning safety and security, and get yourselves a copy today. Once we sell through this limited backstock, I'm going back to the drawing board to bring you the sequel, which parodies Luke Skywalker's fall from grace, and finally the closing chapter, which I can't wait to get to, Frankenfisher, the Bride of Solo. And yes, it's exactly what you think it is. So folks, the only way to get that is go to stealingsolo.com right now, get yourselves a copy, and enjoy the greatest Star Wars parody since Spaceballs. In 2015, Disney launched their first Star Wars film, The Force Awakens. At release, people were blindsided by nostalgia. The film featured the return of the original cast, iconic ships, and even recycled the plot of the original film. While a piece of junk, the film would go on to make a lot of money at the box office. The sequel, The Last Jedi, would become the lightning rod for controversy and make significantly less. The final film in the trilogy, The Rise of Skywalker, would barely scrape by with $1 billion. Now, $1 billion might sound impressive to a lot of us, but that box office means very little when the film cost roughly $416 million to make. After Star Wars tanked at the box office, it made its new home on Disney+. Beginning with The Mandalorian, Star Wars fans seemed quite content with what Lucasfilm was giving them. Then the second season hit, and well, that's when it hit the fan. The subsequent shows would be highly divisive and fail to increase Disney Plus subscribers. After years of disappointment, and with more on the way, it's South Park of all places that finally puts Kathleen Kennedy on blast. After we here online have been doing it for years. It feels good to finally have somebody else say it. South Park had one big unexpected villain in its latest special, Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy. Joining the Pandaverse even went as far as to blame the executive for why Disney movies all suck now. Joining the Pandaverse starts with Cartman waking up in a nightmare, which he and all of his friends have been replaced by queer adult women of color as Bob Iger's stock falls. He begs his mom to check under his bed to make sure that no Disney executives are under there, namely Lucasfilm head Kathleen Kennedy. But as is often the case with South Park, that it starts silly and takes irrational fears and anger of fanboys is pushed to the absolute limits. As the special progresses, Cartman swaps places with his multiverse counterpart, a black woman who acts identically to him, and it's all Kathleen Kennedy's fault. In the special, Kennedy and Disney CEO Bob Iger eventually reveal that they've been using a device known as the Panderstone, an ancient piece of artificial intelligence that could be used to make the same movies over and over again while appealing to absolutely everyone. These more diverse films led to a backlash of hateful and racist letters from fans. Desperate to counter this bigotry, South Park's Kennedy returned the Panderstone and attempted to fight back with even more lit movies. The repeated use of the Panderstone fractured the multiverse, known as the Panderverse, which is how both versions of Cartman and Kennedy came to be in the wrong universe. Ultimately, the two team up. Cartman apologizes for sending Kennedy tens of thousands of pieces of hate mail a day about Star Wars and Indiana Jones, and Kennedy vows to make original content that doesn't pander going forward. In the episode, she's quoted as saying, "I'm sorry I was so reckless with these things that you love. It was lazy." Cartman responds with, "I guess just railing on woke stuff all the time is pretty lazy too." This is far from the first time South Park has targeted Disney. It's not even the show's most ridiculous trashing of the company. A vulgar, cruel, and money-obsessed version of Mickey Mouse often serves as the show's Disney punching bag. Over the course of the series, Mickey Mouse has bullied the Jonas Brothers into becoming sex symbols, teamed up with Randy to sell weed in China, and was shown having sex with a bat and a pangolin. The later foray leads to the start of COVID-19 in the South Park universe. The show even previously took on Indiana Jones in an episode devoted to the poorly received Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, that time blaming George Lucas and director Steven Spielberg. But this may be the first time that Matt Stone and Trey Parker's show has so explicitly and repeatedly targeted a specific entertainment executive rather than the head of a conglomerate. Typically, the show uses recognizable stand-ins like Mickey Mouse for the corporate mockery rather than naming names. Other corporate heads the series has ridiculed include the telepathic take on Jeff Bezos and its poorly dubbed Mark Zuckerberg. Well, it goes to show you just how heinous Kathleen Kennedy's offenses were. I'm so thankful that South Park gets it. It's true that all these recycled films are just lazy. Fans of classic franchises have been subjected to lazy cash grabs for years. It's frustrating trying to figure out why, but calling it what it is, lazy, is the most accurate answer possible. This isn't the first time that South Park has done this. The member berries come to mind. Around the time of The Force Awakens, the member berries made their debut. The member berries were so popular that phrase has become part of the modern lexicon. Disney was trying to feed us a diet of member berries, and audiences spit them out. The laziness creates arrested development in pop culture, which in turn creates arrested development in society. What good does rehashing the same story over and over again with a different lead do? None. It's boring. Would you want the same meal over and over again? Even if it's your favorite, it won't be your favorite after your 3,735th serving in a row. Tying this in with recognizable brands creates an ugly maelstrom of nostalgia, greed, and laziness that angers audiences. We have a limit to the bullshit, and we're fed up with the same rehashed crap. This mentality also creates issues outside of rehashed film. The cult-like mentality of what people call wokeness has real casualties. And one of them is speaking out about it right now. Gina Carano blasts Kathleen Kennedy after unflattering South Park portrayal. Back in 2021, Gina Carano had generated a great deal of controversy with her social media posts. This ultimately led to her removal from the role as Cara Dune on the Star Wars series The Mandalorian, and she did not return for that year's Season 3. More recently, Paramount Plus debuted an all-new South Park special dubbed South Park Joining the Pandaverse, which took aim at Disney and Lucasfilm head Kathleen Kennedy for making new films and TV shows much more diverse in their casting. Carano subsequently took to Twitter to post a rant about her reaction to Kennedy's portrayal in the South Park episode. The post reads, "This is the part where Kathleen Kennedy demands any YouTubers get censored off YouTube for sharing and laughing at this hilarious episode. She'll have YouTube disable the thumbs down option because the ratio she'll receive. Then she'll have her publicist ghouls make sure Variety and The Hollywood Reporter run hit pieces about the South Park creators and their families, smearing their names through every useful idiot she has under her thumb who would sell their souls to work for Lucasfilm. She'll activate her online mob to repeat that South Park creators are racist, bigot, transphobes, and demand South Park creators publicly apologize by only using the words she approves, and finally she'll demand they subject themselves to re-education courses of 45 people in the LGBT community Zoom call to sit there and listen to how badly they got their feelings hurt all over a little boop of a South Park episode. But maybe, just maybe, the jig is up." World-class bullshitters note, "Man, Kathleen Kennedy sounds like a real gem, doesn't she? Carano would know how she operates. And we've all known that she's not playing the most honest game. But you know what? It's about time somebody call her out." It continues. An even longer rant was posted soon after a response to one post on Twitter claimed that Carano was losing her mind. Carano responds with, "They fired and dehumanized people like me who did absolutely nothing wrong, all to virtue signal to people like you, the yes men. I'm not saying I'm right on all fronts, but I'm open-hearted and refuse to discriminate based off powerful people telling me how to think and act. And if there's something I need to apologize for, I would have in a heartbeat, but I didn't say or do anything wrong." Now folks, if you want to hear what we said about Gina Carano way back in the day, we'll go into the WCBS archives. There's videos about it and all of these Star Wars related and Disney related topics. We've been covering it for quite a while. But maybe Carano's right. Maybe the jig is up. Maybe it's time for Kathleen Kennedy's BS to be put on blast, because that's how she operates behind the scenes. Now the people on Twitter are delusional, and that's an obvious statement, but the creators of South Park are insulated from Kathleen Kennedy's power. What are they going to do? Nothing. She's just going to sit down, probably try to turn it into a joke and laugh it off publicly, but behind the scenes she has to be seething. She's the reason why the most beloved franchises of all time have been turned into garbage, and now everyone's pointing the fingers at her. She wants the attention, she wants the praise. Well, Kathleen Kennedy, here's the attention that you ordered with all your garbage bullshit films. Here you are, I hope you enjoy it. Now, all these articles want to talk about the flip side, about the YouTubers and the creators out there that want to poke fun at wokeness. And surprisingly, I do agree with the commentary on the woke boogeyman. It's overused. People have been using it as a trigger to get audiences riled up, and it's lost its flavor. Woke this, woke that, it's all the same. That's South Park's way of saying, cut that shit out. South Park is honest. The show goes so extreme that it goes past the point of no return and becomes a sobering look at the situation. We finally have an honest look at Disney Star Wars and everyone involved, including the fans. I hated those movies, and Indiana Jones, but there are a lot of channels out there looking for wokeness under rocks, and it's getting a bit tiresome. Woke isn't a replacement for bad, If it sucks, it sucks. If it's woke, it's a joke. Laugh at the stupidity, but don't get angry. If you keep laughing at what is woke, the creators will become self-conscious and change, kind of like Disney and Snow White. Laugh your way to change. That's what South Park does, and that's how change is made, through comedy. Diversify the criticism. Stop looking for wokeness in your Cheerios. Critique the work like a paid critic. Talk about the script, the laziness, the acting, the set design, and comment on the politics. It's in every piece of work these days, and it's very thick. We've been calling out these films since they debuted, but there's more than woke to ding them for. It's time for everyone to up their game, or play a new one. This type of entertainment isn't going to go away anytime soon. It is slowing down, but it's not gone completely. Will it ever go away? No. As filmmaking becomes easier, there will always be these voices in the creative space. Luckily, the alternative will have the same footing. The market will dictate just how much of this quote-unquote woke content audiences want. Eventually, these lazy remakes will go the way of the found footage film. They're out there, but they're few and far between. I think it's safe to say that audiences are ready for most of this mainstream trash to go away too. So folks, what did you think about this situation, and what do you think about the Panderverse? 3 questions for today. 1, have you watched the Panderverse? 2, how do you feel about Kathleen Kennedy's work with Star Wars and Indiana Jones? And 3, what's next from Disney? They put everything into this modern remake, diversity at first initiative, and all this other bullshit that they're putting in their films, but it hasn't really worked out too well for them. And now we're here with South Park making fun of them. And once South Park makes fun of you, the jig is up and you gotta change. Beyond South Park and the bad films, you gotta look at the money too. Disney's losing money, none of their films have turned a profit this year, the theme parks are down, they had to close down the Star Wars Hotel because it's based on the sequel trilogy. What more do you expect? What else can happen? Do you need a meteorite to fall into Lucasfilm when no one's there? Because we'd never wish harm on any of those people. But do you need a meteorite to fall in that building and destroy everything they have and everything they've ever done, including the backups? Do you need an alien invasion? Do you need divine intervention? Do you need something else to happen? This is it, Kathleen Kennedy. This is it. You've reached the top, or the bottom, according to some people. But there's no place else to go with your ideological bullshit. The fans are tired of it, and guys like Trey Parker and Matt Stone, well, they're fans of this stuff too, and they're tired of it as well. And they have an even bigger platform. We have a large platform here on YouTube as we're getting closer to 200K, but they have 200 million people to watch their show, and it feels so good to finally have the things we've been saying for years reach an even bigger audience. So folks, go back into the WCBS archives, listen to what we've been saying about Kathleen Kennedy and her ilk for many, many years. It goes beyond Star Wars, it's across most modern entertainment. Mainstream branding and IP bastardization across the board. Did you need more Goosebumps? Did you need more Star Wars? Did you need another Indiana Jones? Let's dig up old franchises from back in the day. Let's dig up Mask. Let's dig up Inspector Gadget. Let's dig up Goof Troop. Let's do it all in the name of Disney's laziness. I know it's a joke, but it does seem like that Pander Stone is really, really out there. The Pander Stone is the thing that makes entertainment garbage. And well, I wish the Pander Stone would just collapse and evaporate into dust. But it won't. It can't. It's not real. But the problems that they parody, they are. So folks, I'm going to get out of here. I want to know what you think, so let me know down in the comments below. And if you really want to know what I think about Disney, Star Wars, and all the shit that they've done to the fans, well, check out Stealing Solo. It answers the greatest what-if question of all time. What if a group of disgruntled Star Wars fans kidnap Harrison Ford and force him to remake Star Wars in their basement? That's my response to The Force Awakens. So folks, if you were blindsided by Disney Star Wars, and I know you were, go to stealingsolo.com right now to get the book. The website's powered by Shopify, so you get their award-winning safety and security, and I ship books out all the time. So get ready for the holiday season with the best comic you can find right now, Stealing Solo, a Captain's Parody. Only available from me, by me, Jeff Hicks, the host of this channel. But folks, don't worry, I'll be back next time with more. So in the meantime, be smart, be safe, be cool, but always be excellent to each other. Thanks for watching today's video. Yes, it's over, but don't cry because there's more, a lot more from World Class Bullshitters. And there's only one way to get it. Hit that subscribe button below. When you do that, you'll get notifications and updates from World Class Bullshitters every time we go live. Basically, you won't miss anything. And if there's one thing I hate, it's FOMO. But the thing most people hate more than FOMO is fear of missing out on World Class Bullshitters, because there's just some things you can't undo. So folks, do yourselves a favor and never miss anything from World Class Bullshitters. One last thing before you go, hit the thumbs up button. Not for our egos, no, they're big enough as this, but it does help us fight the algorithm here, and, well, it's man versus machine, and that's the real fight. But if that's not your battle, that's okay. There's one last way you can help WCBS, and that's going over to shopwcbs.com, picking up a t-shirt, a beer glass, a sweatshirt, a poster, all sorts of ways to back WCBS. The difference between us and other YouTube channels is I'm the artist that makes all this stuff, so if you enjoy art beyond t-shirts, you can even read our comic books. We got it all. We're called the epitome of pop culture for a reason, and no, again, it's not for our egos. So folks, make sure you're involved with every aspect of world-class bullshitters, not just for us, but do it for yourself. We're making the change in entertainment everybody out there wants to see. And a special thank you goes out to all of our wonderful patrons who make this content possible. Go to patreon.com/worldclassbs to get involved and help out the channel.